Hey, I'm Alexander, and this channel is dedicated to honest and comprehensive reviews of headphones, IEMs, decks and amps. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to my channel and click the bell icon to receive new video updates. The headphones for today's episode were provided by Shenzhen Audio in exchange for my honest review. Thank you. I'm not paid to say anything in particular about this product, and all thoughts and opinions in today's episode are my own. The Zero is the latest collaboration IEM from CRINACLE. Usually CRINACLE does collabs with well-known manufacturers, but this time this collab comes from an unknown company called TRUTHEAR. There are two interesting things about this IEM that made me really curious. First, it's closely following the Harman's in-ear target curve, at least on the paper, and the second fact is that this IEM uses a double dynamic driver configuration with a real crossover. The IEM currently retails for $50 which, taking into consideration its tuning and configuration, makes it very attractive. The headphones come in a pencil-style box. On the front of the sleeve there is a Zero logo and yet again another anime illustration. I have no idea if illustrations like this boost sales, but I'm not a big fan of it. On the back of the sleeve we have frequency response graph and a list of technical specifications. When you remove the sleeve there is a black box inside. In the box we have TRUTHEAR Zero IEMs, a detachable 2-pin cable, 6 pairs of silicone ear tips in different sizes, 1 pair of foam ear tips, a carrying pouch, manual and a warranty card. And that's a good selection of accessories for IEM costing just $50. The IEMs use two driver configuration, 10mm and 7.8mm dynamic drivers, one of which uses PU diaphragm and the other one uses an LCP diaphragm. The large driver acts like a woofer and the second driver is only reproducing mid-range and treble. Impedance is stated to be 10 ohms, but in my case it turned out to be that my pair has 50 ohms of impedance, and we'll talk about this later in this review. Sensitivity is listed at 117 dB. Cable is removable, it has 0.78mm 2-pin connectors. Design-wise, I like how Zero looks. The shell is large, it's made out of plastic. It has a triangular design and a nice-looking faceplate that features a sparkly glitter swirl of purple and blue colors. The faceplate also changes color from purple to blue depending on lighting and angle. If you look closely on the inside of the IEM where the plastic is slightly transparent, you can see the driver configuration. One driver is placed closer to the center of the IEM and it's responsible for low frequencies. The second driver is placed near the nozzle and this driver is only handling mids and treble. The nozzles are on the longer side and they are quite thick. There is a metal mesh at the end of each nozzle and also a small lip that helps with ear tip retainment. The IEMs have a vent at the top of each shell near the connector, but it does let in a minimal amount of outside noise. At the same time, IEMs are absolutely usable outdoors, though you shouldn't expect the same level of isolation as you have on a pair of unvented IEMs. The left and right channel markings are also printed at the top of each shell next to the vents and connectors. Now let's talk about fit and comfort. The shells have quite ergonomic shape, they are light, but fit and comfort might be a problem for those with small ears. The nozzles are on the longer side and quite thick, which can be a problem if you have a narrow ear canal. I personally just couldn't get a comfortable fit with stock ear tips as my ears started to hurt after 20 minutes. I ended up using this IEM with SpinFit CP145, which really complements this pair. It significantly improved the fit, seal and comfort, and now I can wear this pair of IEMs for hours. The cable that comes with Zero was getting a lot of praise recently, but I don't think it's anything special. The stock cable is a basic rubber braided cable that feels a bit cheap. The cable is 1.2 meters long, from one side we have angled 3.5mm connector and from another side we have 0.78mm 2-pin connectors. The channel markings are really hard to see and I wish they could use a blue-red accents or dots here. The cable has a metal chin slider, overall cable is minimal in microphonics and works just perfectly fine. Now let's talk about the sound. Please note that all the sound impressions that I'm sharing on my channel are completely subjective, so please take them with a grain of salt. Zero closely follows Harman's in-ear target and is quite good at it. Recently a lot of people have also mentioned that this IEM is surprisingly difficult to drive. I noticed that too when I first tried it with my smartphone, which made me question whenever the impedance was really 10 ohms or not. I took measurements with my trusted multimeter and found out that my pair of Zero has impedance of 50 ohms, and I guess this answers the questions regarding amplification requirements. The bass on this pair is a little bit elevated, so I wouldn't call it completely neutral. The bass is relatively fast and I liked its note weight and its texture. Sub-bass extension is excellent and has a good impact, rumble and feel. Mid-bass has a good amount of punch and it sounds really natural with many genres of music. The IEM can also handle bass-heavy music really well, and EDM is especially enjoyable with this pair. In case of Zero, the bass sounds as good as it looks on the paper, so the double dynamic driver formula with the crossover works really well in practice. Overall, I am pleased with the bass on this pair and I think a lot of people will love it too. The mid-range on Zero is clean and well extended. There's almost no bass bleed into mids and the lower mid-range is a bit thin and recessed. While the upper mid-range is boosted too much for my personal liking, in my case it was never harsh or sibilant. Vocals, both male and female, sound good, but I have also noticed that vocals frequently overshadow the instruments. The timbre of instruments on the other hand is good. Overall, I'd say that the mids have a good amount of details, definition and texture, but they lack a bit of note weight. Treble is definitely not the strongest part of Zero, as this IEM lacks both in lower and upper treble extension. In addition, it lacks a bit of air and sparkle, and as a result, the overall presentation is a little dull for my personal tastes. But if you're treble sensitive, you will like how the treble sounds on this pair. Overall, treble has enough energy and detail retrieval is good for its price range, but as I mentioned, it still lacks extension, air and sparkle. Soundstage size is about average and it's more wide than deep, so the music sounds slightly out of your head. I have also noticed that SpinFit's CP145 ear tips that I was using with this pair made the soundstage a little bit wider. Imaging is good for its price and instrument separation is average on this pair of IEMs. Overall clarity is good, but detail retrieval is average and micro details retrieval is below average. Let's summarize. In my opinion, TRUTHEAR Zero is a very interesting musical and very engaging pair of IEMs. Pros: good design, excellent tuning that Harman lovers will appreciate, double dynamic driver configuration with the crossover works really well in practice, and as a result, low frequencies have a good impact and a lot of energy. Cons: long and thick nozzles might be a problem for some people, IEM has average treble extension that lacks air and sparkle, and upper mids can sometimes be a little bit harsh and a bit offset. Despite a few small cons, Zero is a quite interesting IEM in its price bracket and it will be appealing to those who love Harman tuning. While the competition is quite stiff under $100, I think TRUTHEAR implemented double dynamic drivers with crossover configuration really well to use it as a competitive advantage. And I need to mention that this tuning works really well with many genres, especially with bass-heavy music. So if you are looking for a well-tuned IEM under $100 to enjoy music and you don't mind a little bit well treble, you should definitely check out TRUTHEAR's Zero IEM. Alright guys, that's all from me for today and I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel and click the bell icon to receive new video updates. See you in the next video. Goodbye.